Hey everyone, this is going to be a long one, so let's just get to it. Today I want to talk about Lesson in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. The main character is Elizabeth Zott. Her parents are scam artists, and she, despite all odds, managed to become a chemist. But as a woman in 1950s and trying to get a degree in science at the time really feel like she's going alone against the world. She'd faced tough things before. She would weather what came. But weathering is called weathering for a reason. It erodes. As the months went by, her fortitude was tested again and again. During her struggle at Hastings Research Institute where she worked as a chemist, she met Calvin Evans, both socially awkward people from an unordinary background. Like how Elizabeth lost her family, so does he. And they, two lonely people, found kinship and solace from each other. She nodded, imagining a newly orphaned boy trying to convince himself of a brighter future. There had to be a special brand of bravery for a child to endure the worst, and despite every law in the universe and all evidence to the contrary, decide the next day might be better. Elizabeth and Calvin complete each other in a way that makes sense. For a lack of word, they have chemistry, and eventually they went out and helped out each other. Calvin even helped her learn to receive help. Against her better judgment, she felt herself warming to the idea. She didn't want to. She didn't like the notion that system had to be outsmarted. Why couldn't they just be smart in the first place? And she certainly didn't like favors. Favors smack of cheating. And yet she had goals, and damn it, why would she just sit by? Sitting by never got anyone anywhere. She and Calvin led a happy life and even got themselves a dog. But due to an incident, she lost Calvin and gained Madeline, her daughter, their daughter. And not long after, she lost her job as a chemist and gained the opportunity for another job, as a chef at a TV cooking show, the first of its kind. She also did something that's never been done before in the 50s. Instead of talking like the lesser gender, she talked to her audience like they're another fellow human, a fellow adult. These are just normal half-wives you've been talking to, Walter told her. Just your average Janes. Elizabeth had looked back in a way that scared him. There is nothing average about the average housewife, she corrected. And in the TV scene in the 50s where even the commercial can look like Folger's infamous coffee ad.
Darling, it's our anniversary. Why so glum?
Nothing. Well, it's your coffee.
Again? Even today?
Honey, your coffee just doesn't taste any good.
Forget the coffee, Marge. It's never very good.
But Phil,
I'll get some at the plant.
Attention, ladies, please. Right now, at the end of aisle 2, I've set out a brand new, can't-miss, husband-pleasing coffee.
It works. People most often listen when they're being talked to without condescension. This will lead to change for her audience and also to her. For a simple solution to their complicated problems, it's a lot easier to have faith in something you can see, can touch, can explain, and can change, rather than to have faith in something you actually can, she sighed. Oneself, I mean. There are so much great characters in the story, not just Elizabeth and Calvin. Harriet Sloane, for example, the big softy nosy neighbors that helped Elizabeth raise Madeline. Like so many undesirable men, Mr. Sloane truly believed other women found him attractive. Harriet had no idea where that specific brand of self-confidence came from. Because while stupid people may not know they're stupid because they're stupid, surely unattractive people must know they're unattractive because of mirrors. Not that there was anything wrong with being unattractive. She was unattractive and she knew it. She also knew that Calvin Evans was unattractive, and the sloppy dog Elizabeth brought home one day was unattractive. But there was a good chance Elizabeth's future baby would be unattractive too. But none of them were or would ever be ugly. Only Mr. Sloane was ugly, and that was because he was unattractive on the inside. Dr. Mason that only appears a few times in the story, the obstetrician who helped deliver Madeline, and most importantly, a fanatic rower. I think that went well, don't you? Dr. Mason said later after they walked to their cars. She turned to look at him when she was in labor and in horrific pain, convinced the baby was snatching her internal organs like suitcases as if to ensure she'd have plenty to wear on the outside. She screamed so violently the bed frame shook. Once the contraction passed, she'd opened her eyes to see Dr. Mason leaning over her. See, he said, not so bad, right? And even their family dog named after the time they met is an interesting character. She reminds me of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Say what you want about the human race. Their capacity for kindness was what, in 630 opinion, put them over the top species-wise. And there's Walter, Fresh, Donati. Most characters, even the unlikable characters, are people that leave an impression. It helped that despite the seriousness of some of the scenes, a lot of them are told in a charming and funny way. With enough campiness, your days are numbered. The tombstone was supposed to have read, your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the window of your soul to the sun. A quote from Marcus Aurelius. But the tombstone was small and the engraver has made the first part too big and had run out of room. There are a few flaws to the storytelling, but it is such a good story with a sign of great writing already. The use of the precocious children who talks roughly like an understanding adult still feels a bit forced, but in a story where the family dog is learning to understand 981 words, it surprisingly fits. There are also a few scenes that doesn't add much to the story or characters. I think she tried to cram too much social commentary on it, and as a result, a few feels like a throwaway line that blinks and you miss. A few scenes are a tad bit too long, and the ending have a bit of exposition dialogue. But for a debut, this book is actually amazing. It's been so long since there's a good character writing for a strong independent woman that doesn't crash and burn miserably and came out as self-entitled toxic girlboss assholes that feels more like a robot pretending to be human. Disney and a lot more movie comedy writers should study this despite of its flaw. The story of Elizabeth Zott is an amazing one. It's a story about people's connection, about loss, about her struggle and the people who try to put her in their own image despite of everything, and her refusal of it. The kindness and help she received from others and she to them. Sometimes bad things happen. This is a fact of life. In terms of the boy's home, your father did not talk about it because I suspect he knew dwelling on it would not change it. He was raised without a family, without parents he could count on, without the protection and love every child is entitled to. He persevered. Often the best way to deal with the bad, she said, feeling for her pencil, is to turn it on end, use it as a strength, refuse to allow the bad thing to define you, fight it. I think it's a great book, despite its flaw. I hope they didn't mishandle the adaptation of the book. That's about it.